Hello?
Hello there. Hello?
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 Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Recording sign in.
Dave can hear me, right?
I can hear
Yes.
you.
Yeah, I think we can both hear you.
Oh, Cindy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
can't hear me?
Well, it's really low.
I'll turn it. Is there something I can turn up?
You know what? I'm gonna put my earbuds in. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, I can hear you really well, Cindy, so I'm not sure what's
Oh,
up.
so I shouldn't turn anything up.
I wouldn't go too much higher.
Okay. I'll just calm it down. How are you, Dave?
Pretty well, thank you.
Good.
Hmm.
Hi, Karen.
Hello, how are you?
I'm tired as usual on Tuesdays.
Well, I'm in Erie, Pennsylvania right now.
Are you really? What are you doing there?
My mother lives here. My
Oh,
91-year-old mother.
oh my goodness gracious.
So, yep. So back here for a visit.
Good. That's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, yeah. So, anything new and exciting?
No. It rained. There are mushrooms growing.
I don't mind the, well, I'm not there for the rain, but rain
No,
is good for us these
it really
days.
is good for us. It was really great to have.
Yeah,
It was kind of
yeah.
nice to actually have rainy days, multiple rainy days. Take a break. Who are we waiting for? Mike and Dave
Not
and
better.
yeah.
What happened?
Are you better?
Oh, God, yes. Oh, please. Stop. Wait. Nobody say anything. Judas Priest. Holy cow. I think my eardrums are gone. Why does it do that? It just kicked in, right? Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden.
Is it okay now?
Unexpected.
Is this normal?
Yeah, it's very good now. Thank you.
Okay, good.
I don't know why. That's the other thing I was gonna have my son look at is my audio on my computer. It's not good. I have to put in my earbuds. So,
That's all sons are good for.
well, he's home for a couple days, so I should probably get what I can.
Yes, you should.
Since I just helped him pack up.
Oh, that's right. Weren't you in Colorado doing that?
I was in Colorado, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How
Beautiful
fun.
place, Colorado. Love it.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
It was so pretty. Oh my God. I'd be driving along on an errand, of course, and just not thinking about anything. All of a sudden, I look up and there were the mountains, just covered in snow,
Hmm.
just bright blue sky. I'm thinking, oh God.
God's country.
God's
Yes.
country. Okay, got
Rita. Okay, so that's Lindsay.
that's Lindsay.
We're just missing. Is Mike going to be here? I don't know.
I don't know. Now
And
that he's done his big thing, I don't know if
I don't know. He's probably tired still.
he's
John, I think, is gone now, really. I mean,
John is gone.
actually
I was
left.
gonna talk about that. Yeah.
Okay.
John is gone. So,
He'll be back.
uh,
He'll be back.
well, yeah, he'll be back. Unless
And
they really like,
Dave. Is Dave going to
unless
come?
they really like Germany.
No,
Uh,
he's not going to stay there.
oh, well, he might not, but Beth may.
That's exactly right.
I think, I think he'll stay wherever Beth stays. Just a hunch, but
Hi, Mike.
okay. Looks like we got
Cora.
Mike's coming in. At least there's Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hey Patty, hi.
Lindsay, are you with us? Lindsay,
Looks like she's working on the audio.
looks like it. Yeah. Mike, are you caught up on your sleep?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I was pretty tired.
Pickleball dropping today.
You know, I just have to say, I was singing We Are the World for about 6 days after this,
It gets in your
I
head.
could not get it out of my head. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and yeah, it was great support from everybody here in terms of just, the prep, planning, setup, cleanup. So really it was a team effort.
Well, you did more than your fair share, so thank you.
I don't know,
Um,
what's 100 hours?
Well,
What else?
I looked
What
at
else
it,
do you have to do, Mike? Come on.
I looked at it as a hobby. It was,
I know, really.
that's so just sort of build out the slides and the questions and it made it more interesting. I was thinking is the next trivia night November 8th?
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah.
set aside, right, Karen?
Yep, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've reserved that at Town Center.
Okay, we're
Well,
gonna talk about game night, so let's wait till we get
okay.
there.
Yeah, he's excited, you can tell.
Yes, come on, come on, come on, Mike. Hold back here, there, hold back. We've unloosed a demon. We've unloosed a demon. Okay, I'm gonna call the order. Lindsay, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
You're looking good, Lindsay.
Yeah, you
That's a
are.
change. Wait a minute.
No,
That's,
it's not. Okay,
No,
I'm calling
minute.
the meeting to order at 7:36 PM. Any oral communications for anything that is not on the agenda? Okay. Approval of minutes for February 18th. Do I have an approval? Oh, I have a correction. Sorry. Let's see. Oh, it must have been the correction from the previous one.
Yeah, I don't think there was one on this one. At least one.
Tony from finance reached out to me and we're working on the budget together. And he said had a correction on the minutes. Looks like it was from the previous one. So I'll go back and change it. I had indicated that John Golden had made a presentation to the town council about his proposed 501c3 for funding public projects.
That's
I
on
was
these minutes, Patty.
incorrect. John is not making his presentation until April 12th. I think it is now. What was presented to the town council was a proposal, I think by Tony, to establish a program for allowing public funding or public donations to an approved town project. So what had to happen is the town wanted to set up the process for approving the project and being able to bring the donations in, assign it to the project, etc., before we set up the public process. So Tony made a presentation, and what they're doing is they're using the project of two residents have offered to fund some repairs along Shady Trail. If you walk Shady Trail at all, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's been like 3 years that it's been a problem. So two residents have offered to fund the repair of that trail, and they're using that as the alpha test for this funding program. So once the town puts its process together, which I think is pretty well done, then John is going to come in April and make the proposal for the broader program and open it up to other town projects. So does that make sense?
That you said that's at the town council meeting in April, on the April 12th? Well,
I think
wanna
it's
be
April
there.
12th. Is that a Wednesday? No, it's not. It must be. It's one of the town council meetings in April. I'll
So
let you
Patty,
know.
that is in your minute. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
That is in your minutes. It's under the pickleball courts. B, town courts, it's the
oh, you know,
second
there it is.
bullet.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, thank
Mhm.
you, thank you. Okay,
Yeah, the only comment I'd have on that is that there are, having been at the meeting, there are a lot of little nuances that the town council could get caught up in, like they're not sure who gets the money back if the project doesn't finish and all that. So I wouldn't I wouldn't presuppose that they're going to have it all ironed out before you need to do anything. You may need to do what the Shady Trail people did and just jump the gun and just there's they have an ability to make things take a long time, sort of, is I guess what I'm saying. So
really, Dave? Wow, what a
yeah,
shock.
Really?
We make
I
things more
know.
complicated than they're supposed to
Yeah.
be. Yeah, what
Yeah,
a,
it was an amazingly long and detailed discussion with a
I
whole
can't
bunch of
imagine.
interesting issues that
Shock,
I like, oh my God.
shock of all shocks.
Exactly. So
Mm.
I would make sure you're ready to move ahead no matter what, I guess is my only point.
We can do that. We
Yeah.
we're rebels here. We can rogue. We
Yeah.
can be rogue. Okay. And I talked to John Badger, who set up the 501c3 for the Palooza, and he was going to reach out to John Golden and see if there was anything he could do to help. But I think that's hopefully moving along. Okay, that was the only correction I had to the minutes. Any other comments or motion for approval?
Motion to approve with,
Second.
with edits.
Second approval?
Deck, all in favor?
Aye.
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 You? Okay. Any new business? Okay. Okay, I think we're gonna discuss some things under Rosati's and Hawthorns and everything. So we'll just keep going. Okay, game night update. This was a huge success, and I really want to thank everyone involved for their organization, the PR, the effort, the setup. But you know, a huge thank you to Mike. Just a tremendous program, MC, the videos, the questions. I just thought it was a fun, successful event. So thank you to everybody. Anybody have any general comments? Kind of a post-mortem or anything?
No, but I would like to let the people that weren't there know that we had 80 attendees, and it was really a very, I think, positive community event. Super positive. I mean, I just can't even imagine. I was
I think
a
we
little
had a great
nervous.
mix of people,
Great
you know,
mix of
young,
people.
old, you know, Ladera, you know, Los Trencos, pickleball, you name it. I think we had some all walks of life there. So it was great. I know the table right in front of the scores table, Mike was kind of the young table. They were kind of frustrated with some of the questions, especially
Oh,
on the like the TV and the ads, but I
oh,
thought
the
they were fun.
Swifties table. That was the Swifties table.
Yes,
Wasn't
yeah.
it?
They won a couple, they won a couple rounds,
They
so
did.
they
They
didn't
were
do
fine.
they didn't do too poorly, so.
Okay, well,
Patty,
whatever.
do you want to share I mean, we at the last minute, we put out that donation box because we found out that we had to buy the insurance. Do you just want to share
Yeah.
that information?
Yeah, what was the follow-up to that?
We had a total of $85.
Wow.
And that was even
You know,
without,
most,
I forgot about it. And I wasn't even doing anything. I mean, if I had passed the basket late in the night, I'm sure we would have gotten more. And I'll remind myself to do that in the future. But yeah, $80.
But I want to know why the town is charging a town committee for insurance that they're supposed to be providing us.
Because there is a potential for alcohol being served.
We didn't
And
serve it.
there's a potential for town alcohol to be
serve it.
drank, to be consumed.
It didn't
Sorry,
say
to be
that. It says served. I'm a
consumed.
stickler on that.
Like a louder if you can make it that way.
Try your hearing aids. They're not in.
I don't know.
So we can't fight that.
I'll try when I'm meeting with Tony on the budget. I'll talk to him about it. What Cindy, the other Cindy, the town Cindy, kind of alluded to me was that things haven't been done really kosher in the past, and they're trying to clean up their processes. Now, whether it had anything to do with this or not, I don't know. But she said it was two things. One, which we can correct. One was BYOB. We can't say that. Because it alludes to alcohol, even though it could be, say, bring your own beverage, bring your own, whatever. People tend to think it alludes to alcohol. So in the future, we just should say things like, no drinks or refreshments will be served. Something like that, something that doesn't allude to alcohol. So that got us into a little bit of trouble. And then the second one is that, I forgot. I think it was that they're just trying to clean up their processes.
Well, then they should clean up their language.
I think it was, in terms of people bringing their own sort of picnic dinner, that worked well.
Yeah.
I think it worked really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though I think people were kind of putting themselves to the popcorn and the great cookies that Karen brought. So I think it doesn't help to have some things on the side. Okay, great night all around.
Wait,
Thank you, everybody.
I have one question. You just reminded me, did anyone take home a corkscrew? Because I am missing a corkscrew from that
I'm
evening.
afraid we threw that out with the tablecloths. That's what I'm afraid of. That when people were wrapping up
Okay.
the table.
Mm.
You want me to take the $85 and buy you a new corkscrew?
No,
You should.
no, it's my donation, but I figured I would ask you guys when I have the chance. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, so
Okay, so
bad.
let's move on. Next trivia night is scheduled for November 8th. Obviously, we don't need to do any detailed planning, but if anybody has any general thoughts about that, just raise your hand and
Okay.
talk away.
Yeah, I was thinking a different theme, and I'm glad to take the lead for this again. I was thinking a movie trivia night.
Ooh,
So
that would be fun.
in different genres, comedy. Each round will have, different focus, comedy or action or thriller or whatever, rom-com.
I don't know, Mike, you'd have to start now to pull your videos together. You
He
probably
can do it.
you probably need 300 hours to do that.
But
I don't know, what's everybody think about that?
I like it. I mean, because I watch a lot of movies.
I like having the variety and different themes. I did get some feedback that people that and also like we usually in the first two we'd had Portola Valley trivia. But that some people were looking for I don't know, we might want to broaden it a little bit, is all I'm saying, instead of all the questions about movies, is have some variety. That kind of was one of the things that came up when people were talking to me, but everybody had a really great time. So it was a good event, but I'm just gonna throw that out. If it could be sort of maybe broader somehow, that might appeal to more people.
Yeah, I don't know. I think movies have a pretty broad appeal. I mean, you can't please everybody, right? Somebody asked me, maybe have a night that's just Portola Valley trivia. And I don't know if we could come up with enough trivia other than maybe some dirt on some people, but which I'd be happy to dig up or make up. I could just make it up. But maybe,
Wow.
let's
Yeah.
think about it as we get closer. I think it sounds like a fun idea. We could have people dress up,
Yep.
we could have like, dress up in their favorite movie costumes, Great Gatsby or Star Wars.
Oh,
I don't know,
Darth Vader outfit. I could do that.
Darth Vader outfit.
Would be kind of fun on the entrance, a red carpet.
Oh, it would. It would.
Ooh, look at you.
Oh, look at us.
Don't have the
Okay.
There
budget.
goes our budget.
Exactly.
Damn,
For the red carpet.
you want a goddamn red carpet.
I think we can rent one.
Jeez. You need paparazzi too. I
Oh,
think it
that would
sounds
be
like,
great.
I think it sounds like fun, but,
Yeah, I do too.
okay. Anything else? Okay. Anything going on with the town courts? Cindy?
Not really. No, I'm waiting for the John Golden thing to happen. Because I think that's our only avenue to getting it done, is that they have a 501c3 that allows us to raise money for those projects. And then I think they'll jump on it. I mean, I really do. I mean, I know that the money is out there in our community. It's something that really needs to be done. The only thing that's happening with the courts now is Court of Madera starts this week, with their annual tennis practice there, but it turns out she only has one team this year, so there's very, very low usage for both courts. Right now, they're assigned to courts 2 and 3, whereas we will have one the entire season. We'll have one whole court so that we have 4 pickleball courts no matter what the day and whether or not they're there, which is great. I mean, but it's like the tennis program is kind of dwindling.
Is she having them play
Cindy?
pickleball at
Oh.
all?
Pardon me?
Is she having them play pickleball?
Yeah, she's arranged to have 2 nights. She wants me to teach them 2 times during the season where they come and play. I'll get volunteers to come play with them, and people really like to do that. So yeah, she wants 2 nights this year, or 2 afternoons.
Cindy, do you
Yeah.
do you know if the decrease in the number of tennis players is due to a decrease in the number of students?
I
Does
don't know
anyone
anything
what
about the number of
enrollment numbers
students.
are?
I honestly don't know what the
Okay.
school registration is, but I do know that for all the years that I was in that school district, they expected it to grow and it never has. It just never
You-
has because the
Yeah.
You
population.
happen
No,
to-
it's been on the it's been on the decline. I just was wondering
Oh,
if you got
seriously?
any more
How
information on
much
that. Yeah.
decline? How much, do you know?
I don't know a recent. My dad is really old, but the number of classes per grade has definitely dropped. Like when
Because
my
we
kids
always
were there,
had
it was an
3 of
average
20
of 4.
students. 3 of 20 students, and if it's dropped from that, then it's really low.
Okay, when my kids were there, it was 4 of 20 students. And I think it's down to like 3 in each class. So it's a decline from maybe it peaked or something like that. But I don't know. Do not quote me on that. That was why I was asking you.
Yeah.
But I have heard that it's declined.
And just an
Yeah.
observation, probably Lindsay could back this up. It seems like the number of Little League majors teams is getting smaller compared to, decade or 2 ago. So it's just
Why?
another,
How many are there now?
I haven't tracked
There's
it.
fewer than there.
Yeah, but it started shrinking even when I was still coaching, back in 2014 compared to when my first son or whatever went through in, early 2000s. Just used to be a lot of teams, and that's just another proxy for shrinking number of kids in the
You're
area.
right. I was the majors players agent back in the day, and I had 10 teams.
Yes.
And the tryouts were huge. I mean, so I'll check into that too. I
Yeah.
think that's a really interesting
I think,
stat.
yeah, I think there's 5 majors teams now.
Yeah,
Wasn't it 6 when we
Seriously?
were there, Mike?
I think it was 6 or
Yeah.
7.
And I
Yeah.
had 10. Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So Sydney, one question maybe to ask, and
Uh-huh.
I know this opens up a hornet's nest. Is their varsity team number declining, and could Alpine Hills take on junior varsity?
That's what happens. They don't have two teams anymore. As near as I can tell, they only have one, and it's varsity. And so they're only using the town center, it looks like, on Mondays and Thursdays sometimes, never on a Wednesday. And she's made me a member of their Team Snap, where they show where the practices are. And last year it was, here's where the JV team is, and here's where the varsity team is. This year it's just the team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's very sparse. So like this is the week they're starting. They're starting well, they started today. But they're only coming to us on Thursday, and next week it's just Monday and Thursday, and then it's very sporadic throughout. So what I'm going to do for pickleball is just tell people which days they will be there rather than when they won't be there, because they're hardly ever there.
Oh,
And then once they start matches, they won't even be there during the week at all,
yeah.
because they don't
Yeah.
play matches at our courts. It's really
Interesting.
kind of interesting, but you're right, Karen, I need to look into why. Is this this year, or is it forever?
Well, it's kind of a broader thing.
Well,
If
our
that's the
community-
case, our soccer fields are not going to get as much use either.
Mhm.
Our-
So,
Yeah, our community is definitely graying, and we knew that, and we knew that the enrollment was declining, and with new housing, hopefully there'll be more families, but it's definitely indicative of our town. So,
Never occurred to me. Oh, great. Okay, I'll look into that.
okay. All
But that's
right.
all.
Okay.
Dear.
Well, I just thought of this today when I looked at the agenda, Karen. Do you know what happened at the Hawthorns meeting? I have no idea. I really don't.
so how everybody knows, the Hawthorns board meeting was the same night that the ad hoc housing element committee, for alternate sites for Ford Field was presenting to town council. So Patty, myself, Karen Vatra, we we were all at the town council meeting and not at the Hawthorns meeting. I was told that everything passed. I mean, it had gotten down to the board approval. And from that standpoint, I just pulled up the mid-pen minutes. It was the trails that we've talked about, but what they did is they approved that new trail, which was not going into Sweet Springs. It was a new trail, segment 18, to give a little bit more of a loop. And somebody else, if they're in the audience, raise your hand if you attended that meeting. And they still want to see regional trail connections. It's for hiking, dogs on leash, equestrian, and bicycle. And they need to figure out how, but the Alpine Trail doesn't allow bikes, but there's talk of how they widen the trail and working with the town on that for the Alpine Trail. And but I don't have any final information in it. I don't think anyone from our ad hoc committee, well, they didn't provide a summary. I don't know if
So you
anyone
don't-
attended from our
You
group.
don't know which parking area was approved.
I think it was number 10. It's the one that would go in and create a 4-way stop at Alpine and Portola roads. That's my understanding, but please, if Dave or Rita or Christy, if you attended the meeting and you know more, feel free to share.
No,
I'll have to
Christy-
find out. I'll follow up with
I know
Mid-Pen.
Christy was at the town council, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm assuming it was that, the new trails and parking lot number 10, but raises
And
a
it'll
whole
come
nother
back
set
to
of
the town,
issues.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, do we need to do anything on the Hawthorns?
Oh, there's Christy.
No, I'll just try to follow up and Sorry?
Hey, Christy. Do you know the result of the Hawthorns?
Oh, I'm getting every other word is
Problem.
Oh,
I had a really hard time that night going to 2 meetings, and I did not hear the end of the meeting, but I heard a majority, and I took a lot of pictures. But I did not hear the ending because we had to be at 2 meetings at once,
yeah.
and I hope that won't happen again. I don't know how, Karen, if you're the liaison, how do we eliminate having 2 important meetings at the same time? Because that was,
You know,
I was literally on 2 computers trying not to listen to one, turn it on. It was impossible. And these are super
well,
important things to understand.
it
So-
happens once in a blue moon, and because they're completely different organizations, and when the meetings are chosen for both the council and
But
the
if they
board,
care about our
it just was really bad.
Yeah, I just think there might be sorry if I'm talking over you, but I'm getting every other word for some reason. But I'm wondering if at some point we can do a 6 to 7 for Hawthorne so we can actually hear both meetings. Because if this is going to continue, the public will be uneducated and they won't be able to do public comment. And they care about public comment. People are going to probably go to our town meetings over a Hawthorne meeting. And they will, maybe that's the purpose, put them at the same time and then they won't talk.
Well, I don't think there's any,
I think we
I don't think there's
deserve
any,
the respect of, we deserve the respect of maybe them gathering at 6 so we can participate.
yeah,
It's just
I
coming
understand
an
what you're
hour
saying,
So
early.
Christie.
I would recommend,
Okay. Yeah, stop saying, okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Karen.
I would recommend that if we change a meeting, the one that we can control is our town meeting. We cannot control when the Mid-Penn chooses to hold their meeting. They're a separate entity. We have no say in that, but we can, try to work it out if we can do it more in advance. But that was a really big meeting for the council too. So they weren't gonna budge on that.
So maybe in the future, we ask the council for anything Hawthorne's to come at 6 to 7. Wouldn't that be awesome?
For future consideration. Okay, anything else on Hawthorne's? Okay, let's go on
No,
to,
but I must be delayed. I'll follow up and try to get more information for the next
yeah, if you
meeting.
could, that'd be great.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, the status of Rosati's field parking. There's been no further action that I'm aware of. Sorry, just looking. No. I have not been able to contact the town manager about this issue. My strategy now is that Tony is starting to engage me in the budget discussions for next year. I just heard from him today, and we're trying to reconcile and make sure that all the expenses from my side are reflected correctly in the town books so that we know that we have a good starting point. He had a very different number for Parks and Rec that he's been presenting to the Finance Committee that it's not correct. He and I have been trying to get it corrected, and I think we're pretty close. He's got $600 that for some reason he doesn't want to reclassify, but the total now for Park Rec for last year is, I don't have the exact number, but it's almost $25,000 when you take into account the picnic plus Rosati's. And of course, Rosati's has revenue to offset against that of about $5,000. So the net of Parks and Rec spending last year was almost $20,000.
When,
So hold on,
Patty?
Karen. Yeah, yeah.
when you say Rosati's, did you mean Zots to Tots, or do you mean the parking
I
at
meant
Rosati's?
Zot, sorry, I meant Zot's Shots. Yes,
All right, thank you.
for clarifying. Yeah. So I know I put the budget in there. I probably should have put that under new business, but in talking with him about the budget, what I want to engage with him on a deeper level is not only the Parks and Rec budget, but what they're reflecting for field fees, what they're reflecting for parking, which is both Ford Field and Rosati's, and make sure that I understand what is in there. I agree with it. And number two, probably engage in a program where I try to influence him as well as the town that those parking numbers are way too low, should be higher, and that we should be renegotiating the Rosati's lot parking at a minimum. The Ford Field parking would be coming out of fees, a fee structure, unless they sign a contract for it. But that would be the way to influence him to understand that we have we should be having higher revenue expectations from both those revenue streams. And try and get in the back door that way to try and see if I can't influence there, since it seems like I can't influence any other way. Obviously, in doing that, we'll be having a discussion about the overall Parks and Rec budget, which would give us some indication about our ability to hold future programs for next year, specifically Zots and the town picnic, since we're probably going to be making things like trivia nights, you know, either self-funding or relatively low, or maybe some of us could get paid back for the popcorn we bought, or something like that. I don't know. Or
Cookies
the
and
table decorations,
Yeah,
or
those were great, Karen.
the whatever video equipment Mike had to buy to get all that done. I have no idea.
The
Um,
prizes.
Yeah,
When you say
the
next year, do you
prizes,
mean,
that's right.
when you say funding for the next year's picnic, do you mean this year's, the 2025 one?
Yeah,
Because that would be a different fiscal year?
yeah, it's a different fiscal year. So the
Okay, got
town
it.
starts
In
June
July?
1st.
Oh, June 1st.
So we're still in the old fiscal year right now.
Okay,
June 1st starts the new fiscal year.
got it.
I thought it was July 1st, but
Maybe it's
Is it July
July.
1st?
it doesn't matter.
Is it
It's
July 1st?
sometime in the summer.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it is July 1st. I forget because they asked for all the budget stuff in April, so I'm always confused. So anyway, that is my kind of convoluted update on Rosati's field parking.
Okay.
So Christy, I see your hand, but any questions from the committee first on that?
Mm.
No. Okay, Christy, go ahead.
Okay, what I remember is that you wanted 30 parking places for the soccer field, and that the gate guys that let people in, if soccer players wanted to park in the back, they would be given those parking places. But I never understood how that would happen if the people are inside eating and we needed the 30 parking places. So I kind of see it, the parking cut off, so it's only town recreation parking, even if it stays empty. So we can get our soccer players and our players back. I guess I'm confirming the number of parking places that we think should be recreation, and I'm remembering 30. And then I am wondering about Ladera Oaks as well, that there is a sliver behind the fence that's owned by the town, and we pull in 4,999 annually. Supposedly, we pull in 10,000 annually to rent out our town-owned land of those 30 parking places. I don't know. If you could just confirm that that is happening, and then does that go into recreation budget? What area of the budget do the fees go into? And then I heard if they're using Ford Field, that it would be $100 a day that they use Ford Field for parking for Rosati's. So those three things I just want to get some clarity on.
Yes, thank you. So I can confirm that those numbers are correct. So we are getting about, $4.99 for the Ladera strip. We are getting, it's a little over 10,000. The number that I remember is 10,720, but it's roughly 10,000 for the entire Rosati's parking lot. That's the complete parking lot. Sorry, the part that the town owns. Only the part that the town owns, because it's split. And that, yes, Rosati's is supposed to be paying us $100 a day for parking in Ford Field. So I can confirm those numbers. Now, those dollars go into the general fund. They do not go against Parks and Rec. They go into the general fund to be spent according to however the town council distributes the general fund. Even the Zots to Tots revenue that we collect, which is, I think was $5,500 this year roughly, goes in general fund. That does not go against Parks and Rec. That's kind of an accounting thing for government. It's not usual that revenue would go against expense line items. So that's not uncommon in government accounting. So I can confirm that, yes. So my goal would be, I don't know about the Ladera strip. It's kind of unusable for us. I went to take a look at it. It's got a basketball court in there. So it's certainly not big enough for a dog park, which is what I went to look at it for. And it's kind of remote for parking. The Rosati's parking lot is what I would recommend that the annual fee be increased significantly. $10,000 a year seems quite a good deal for that. We asked for between 20 and 30 spaces. And we did not specify how that would be policed. We suggested that it be roped off during game days and that there be attendant there to monitor the traffic going in and out. And the specifics beyond that, we did not get into. The $100 a day for the Ford Field parking also seems low to me, but if you assume they use it 6 days a week when Little Leagues are not playing, it does add up. But yes, those are the numbers, and that would be my strategy going in, yes.
And it's my understanding that in the July, we will get the projection of increased, what do you call it? A nexus study is being done on all of our fees. And I'm hoping, and can you confirm when you talk to Mr. Linder, that that nexus study does include these three things we just talked about and your recommendations for increases? Because I think
cannot confirm that because I don't know. My understanding is that they were primarily focusing Nexus study around the planning and building fees. and that it did not include field fees or parking fees. But I'll try and confirm that.
Can you ask that our fees get added into that Nexus study by our temporary manager? I think this is revenue. We're looking for revenue. We're in a deficit. This is revenue money we are throwing away annually. It just surprises me, and we need to study it and get it to where it needs to be of our land value. And make
Yeah, I
money
could
on the
certainly,
land. Yeah.
I could certainly ask Christy. I know that planning and building brings in far more than field fees does and parking fees. So I think that's the area that they wanted to focus on. But I do agree with you. I mean, revenue is revenue. So to the extent that we can influence that, I will certainly make that point. Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
You
Karen?
know what, I just want to add, I've been in some finance committee meetings, and I was under the impression that certainly the Rosati's field, not the field fees, the parking lot fees were going to be a part of that study. I had assumed that, and I know they're very aware, the finance committee and Tony are very aware of that piece of the revenue puzzle. So, but yeah, we should just double check.
Yeah, we should. I know they're aware of it. I've been harping on it. I know people stand up at council meetings and talk about it, so they're aware of it. I just, yeah, I need to confirm that. Okay. Anything else on Rosati's? Okay. What else was, okay, status of AED units. The AED unit has been installed.
Yes,
Hopefully it hasn't been used.
it
Has it
hasn't
been
yet,
used? It hasn't been used.
but we've been admiring it.
It's very pretty.
It
It's
is.
very pretty. It came with a very nice uh, signage and everything like that. So what I am trying to do, so the next step is that we do have an AED unit that is tucked into a corner of the kitchen on the outside that hardly anybody knows about. What the Sequoia Health District did is they gave us signage that we could put up on the town's building that would let people know that there's an AED unit in that corner. We need to get permission to mount that signage because it's on a town building. So I have asked Mr. Lindner for permission to mount that. I have not heard back from him. I'm hoping it's not going to be a problem. When we do that, what I want to do is I want to put out a blurb to the town announcing that we have these 2 AED units, plus the other AED units that I know are around town. I know there's several at Alpine Hills that Mr. Cardinal has let us know about. I want to kind of advertise Pulse Point as an app for finding AED units, just kind of broaden it. I did talk to Selena at the Woodside Fire Protection District, and she's interested in partnering with us on identifying all of the AED units in the area and making sure that they are publicized as well and made visible to the community. So I want to kind of get that going once we get that permission to, again, do the signage on that outside AED unit. I know there are some internal AED units. I'm more focusing on the external AED units at this point. But that's what I'm doing for that area. Anything else on the AED units?
Yeah, will there be training that people can come to? On how to use these
qu-
things?
good-
Or is it
good
just call
question.
911?
Good question. I'm not aware of any. What I've been told, and I don't know if this is true or not, is that they've made them so idiot-proof that training is not required. Now, that sounds kind of trite, but my understanding is that, you call 911 and they basically talk you through it.
Actually, the actual AED device has a voice.
Yeah, I think they're all different, Mike.
Mike, let's
And
test it.
yes,
That's the problem. It's,
Or we
you
should
got-
go up to that thing and look at it and test it.
even to open it, you have to call 911.
yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
The
that's
one
why
on
we
the
Yeah.
call
court,
it and get a
see,
code.
but the one on the town center is different.
Right.
So, I mean, the one on
Can
the
I,
town
can I
center,
chip in a little bit here? Yeah, the new expensive ones with cellular connectivity, like Mike said, basically you dial 911, then the door pops open. But I think that's like the only one of those we have in town. I think every other one that I know of, oh, the other one is at the fire station, has one like that. I think all the other ones are the old school, and some of those do have a voice. But I believe that I thought I talked to Lori about this. Woodside Fire was happy to have a little class because it never hurts to know what you're doing for the pickleball players or the tennis players or whatever at
Uh-huh.
the courts.
I would love
Um,
one.
yeah, so I think that was an offer. So that's a thing. The other thing Selena can do is the way Pulse Point AED works, which is how you can find your nearest AED, is any human, including me, can make a picture of one and put down the stats. And I did it for a bunch at Alpine, but it doesn't go in the officially it's really there column until emergency services, which in this case would be the fire district, says, "Hey, yeah, it's really here." So what Selena could then do with all of these is turn them into official ones and not just, "Hey, Dave says there's one here." So there's a couple thoughts that I had. Thanks.
okay, that's helpful, Dave. Thank you. Okay. That's all I had. Is there anything else that anybody wanted to bring up?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Well,
If that's the
I-
case, there's a motion to adjourn. Oh,
Oh.
sorry, Christy.
yeah, I want to fully understand what's going on with the Little League field and the upzoning that is being proposed tomorrow night. So my question for this committee is that parcel is 7 acres plus, and it looks like they want to upzone 2.47 acres and just put an amendment on it. Is that how you're understanding it? Do we risk losing the Little League field by upzoning this entire parcel? Do we
Not,
risk
okay,
losing the
so-
parking lot by an upzoning this entire parcel? And it ends in 010.
so my understanding is we're not upzoning the entire parcel. We're zoning 2.74 acres to be potentially used for, no, I'm gonna have to say this right, so I don't get us all into trouble. The zoning tomorrow night is for the parcel that has been identified in the housing element for multifamily housing. It is not for Little Lake Field. It is not for the parking lot. The upzoning that is being proposed tomorrow night is required for us to get our housing element certified. And that is what we are doing. If we do that, and if we resubmit our housing element for certification and they approve it, given that that is the element that is outstanding for us to be certified, then our housing element can be certified. And I know I'm being redundant and using certified a lot of different ways. And then we can go ahead with plans to satisfy the housing element in potentially other ways than not using Dorothy Ford Park, which is what the ad hoc site evaluation committee worked on and presented to the town council last Wednesday night. And there are several other things that are working in parallel there to potentially replace Dorothy Ford Park so that we do not have to build in there. But the upzoning is required to get the housing element certified so that we can move ahead with alternate plans. So I probably said that wrong, and I know Karen is going to jump in here and tell me how to say it right, but that is my understanding. So Karen, help me out with that.
Well, all I want to say is these are questions and a discussion for the planning commission tomorrow night. It isn't something that's in Parks and Rec's purview. But to answer it, is my understanding is the entire parcel is going to be zoned with very specific language that it requires that it's the 2.48 acres that's been designated in the housing element. But I personally do not think this is a discussion for Parks and Rec. It is a discussion for the Planning Commission and to ask those questions, because we are not the right resource to answer them.
Well, I just noticed that, well, this is recreation land and parking for recreation land. That's why I'm asking about it. I want to make sure it's protected in any way, legal thing that we need to write into the document going through tomorrow night, that it legally is protected. But I'm not noticing 3 parcel numbers. And I do notice with the Ramies next door, they ended up with 2 parcel numbers and they split it. So why did we do a survey on recreation land on this parcel? This committee should recognize this, and is it necessary to ask them to survey this land and parcel it out so we can protect residents, town-owned recreation land and parking? I do think this is part of the purview of this committee to look into this. If we're mistaken and the whole parcel is together, all 4 pieces, and I include the Ladera Oaks sliver, then we've just made a mistake and we didn't write something in there we could have. So that's my concern. I'm not a lawyer, but I hope our lawyer has looked into this so we don't lose Little League. We don't make the Little League field smaller or we lose Little League. It's the smallest it can be right now for Little League. And we have.
Can I echo what Patty said? I think what you're talking about isn't what's happening. I mean, there's 2.5 acres that's up past the bridge, past the Little League field, past the parking lot that they're talking about rezoning tomorrow night. No one under any circumstances is talking about rezoning the Little League field or the parking lot. So to Karen's point, it is for the Planning Commission discussion, but no one's talking about removing any playing fields or parking lots. That's not what's happening.
Well, then put that in writing,
So
please.
I want to pipe in here. this is a very technical issue and these questions are for the planning department and Terrence. The lot is not subdivided. There are not separate parcels. The whole lot is going to be rezoned. I don't have the answers on it, but I think there are a lot of difficulties. But they're making it very clear in the housing element that it's the 2.48 acres. Okay, but this is all stuff that we cannot answer. It's for
Yeah.
tomorrow
Yeah,
night.
I'll go
And
tomorrow
you
night
should
and
write,
listen. Mhm.
my recommendation is instead of speaking, write beforehand to the planning commission so they get your questions. If you really want them to discuss what you want, so they understand the questions. Written comments are much better.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion for adjourn,
Thank you.
Motion.
second.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.